Magomed Ankalaev is the light heavyweight GOAT. Or at least he is the only person in the light heavyweight division who could potentially challenge Jon Jones for the title of the light heavyweight GOAT. I think he even has the potential to surpass Jon Jones as the light heavyweight GOAT. But the problem is Dana White hates this guy. And so despite the fact that he's beaten almost everybody who's been put in front of him, despite the fact that he was robbed of being the title holder back in December of 2022, and despite the fact that Dana White is doing everything in his power to keep him from becoming the light heavyweight champion, I still think that Magomed Ankalaev could go on a run and have us having the conversation that he is the light heavyweight GOAT and not Jon Jones. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think there's a scenario in which Magomed Ankalaev could potentially pass Jon Jones as the light heavyweight GOAT? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ultimate Punching, the ultimate MMA channel. Thank you all for stopping by, and as a favor to me, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe button, it helps with YouTube algorithm and it helps me grow the channel. So let me paint a picture for you. Magomed Ankalaev, he comes into the UFC. He loses one fight to Paul Craig, and then he goes on an unbeaten streak, the likes of which we have not seen since Jon Jones in the light heavyweight division. He finally gets his title shot in 2022, December of 2022. Almost everybody I've seen thought that Magomed Ankalaev won the fight against Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight title. And at this point, he probably would have had at least 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 title defenses at this point. But the refs made it a draw. Even in the ring at the time, Jan thought that Ankalaev beat him in that fight. But because it was such a boring fight, because the fans didn't like it, because there was no risk being taken, Dana decided to book 2 new fresh people in in Yuri Prochazka and Glover Teixeira for that title in January of 2023. The rest is history. Magomed Ankalaev hasn't been in the title conversation since. But here's the thing. This guy, Magomed Ankalaev, is so good. Like, at 29, he would have been the light heavyweight champion. And I feel like he would have been able to reign supreme over that division against almost everyone. Jamal Hill, incredibly talented, but I don't think he'd be able to contend with Magomed Ankalaev's wrestling. Yuri Prochazka, crazy striker, but still, once again, I don't think he'd be able to contend with Magomed Ankalaev. Alex Pereira, the current light heavyweight champion, I don't think he'd be able to contend with Magomed Ankalaev. The guy has not lost since his first fight in the UFC to Paul Craig. Similarly, we have Jon Jones, who has an incredible resume. Arguably, he's never lost a fight in the UFC. There is that one technical loss because he got DQ'd for the 12-6 elbows. And a lot of people do think that he lost the fight against Dominic Reyes. Now, here's the thing, right? Let's say Magomed Ankalaev, this weekend, Magomed Ankalaev is fighting Johnny Walker. And I think he gets the job done. I think he takes him down, he beats him up, maybe he gets a submission, maybe he gets a TKO. Johnny Walker's great, he's fun, he's entertaining. I actually would love a situation where Johnny Walker came out on top in this match. But if he doesn't, then we have to have the conversation. When does Magomed Ankalaev get his next shot at the light heavyweight title? Alex Pereira has said that he should be next if he wins this fight. But once again, it goes back to the fact that Dana White hates this guy. And there's a lot of things happening at light heavyweight that could potentially ruin this possibility. There's the fact that Alex Pereira might want to go up and fight. Alex Pereira should fight Jamal Hill for the belt next. Then there's the potential that that Rakic and Yuri, they go back and forth, and whoever wins that one, maybe they have a claim to a title shot. And the problem with Magomed Ankalaev is he doesn't speak English. And he's not going to raise his hand and say, hey, I deserve this, right? Unlike Khabib, unlike some of those other Dagestani guys, that guy doesn't really speak up all that much. He's not a guy that gets in your face and, you know, makes you listen. And so because of that fact, because of the fact that he doesn't have that sort of English base and he doesn't have that ability to sort of draw in the crowd, I feel like we're going to have a big problem with him ever surpassing Jon Jones. Now, let's just say, for example, he goes on a run, right? He wins the title sometime this year, and he defends it a bunch of times. Could we then have the conversation that Magomed Ankalaev is the light heavyweight GOAT? I definitely think we could. And for me, because of the fact that Jon Jones has that sort of criminal past, he has some of the DUIs, he has the PED usage, he has those taints on himself as a human being, right, outside the octagon. To me, that taints you a little bit as a champion as well, both inside and outside, right? The PEDs, all that kind of stuff. So if you have two guys who have the exact same resume, right? Because look at the guys that Magomed Ankalaev has beat. A lot of those same names Jon Jones has on his resume, right? Some guys who Jon Jones never faced, but Ankalaev beat. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that question? How do you answer that question? How do you compare? And for me, it's always the guy with the cleaner guy, right? I even have trouble putting Jon Jones on my GOAT list just because of the fact that he used those banned substances, those PEDs. And a lot of people come back and say, oh, well, they're legal now, they're not banned anymore, but those were the rules at the time. And maybe he would have destroyed everybody no matter what. Maybe he only used them that one time. But a lot of the time, someone gets caught, they've been caught once, but you know, you go into it and they've been cheating repeatedly. So for me, you know, innocent until proven guilty. But once proven guilty, it taints the whole legacy, right? How many of the guys that he beat could he have beaten without PEDs, right? Has he been clean since? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say yes, right? But could he have beaten all those guys without using PEDs? I don't know. Maybe he's just that good. But because of those facts, if it ever got to a point where their two resumes looked similar, right? Jon Jones is 27-1. Magomed Ankalaev, I think, is 17-1-1. You know, Jon Jones has a no contest, 1 loss on his record. Magomed Ankalaev has 1 loss and 1 no contest on his record. So say Magomed Ankalaev fights 10 more times in the UFC, wins all 10 more times now, 27-1, 27-1, 28-1, 28-1. Let's just say that happens, right? By default, I'm going to make Magomed Ankalaev the light heavyweight GOAT because of Jon's PED usage. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts are on this entire situation. Do you think Magomed Ankalaev could ever surpass Jon Jones? Is there anyone who could surpass Jon Jones? Do you take PEDs into consideration on who you put on your GOAT list? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you for stopping by.